Hello and welcome to Bert's Imperfect Bakes, the channel where it's okay to not bake perfectly every time. I'm Bert and this week, as requested from Sue, I'm going to be making a gluten-free lemon cake. But instead of your bog standard layer cake or loaf cake, I'm going to make it slightly more difficult by baking it in this cylinder tin. We shall see how we get on. So to get things going, I'm going to grease this tin very well on the inside with some butter. I'm going to grease the lids on either end as well because it's all going to be in a sealed unit. And then I'm going to get some baking paper in a cylinder and pop it in. Obviously it's slightly too large for the tin, but I'll cut that off later. And then add the lid of one end and pop that to one side. Get the mixing bowl. We're going to cream the butter and sugar together with a wooden spoon. You can use an electric whisk if you like. I opted for the wooden spoon method for this one. Give that a good mix until it's all combined before adding the eggs. Scrape off any excess from the spoon. And keep mixing. Good for the arm muscles, this. I mean, only on one side though. You have to keep swapping. And this is me trying to be clever, using one hand to crack an egg. Ended up with shell in the mix. Not advisable unless you're an expert single-handed egg cracker. Mix well after each egg. Don't want too much egg going on at the same time. And then I opted to use 2 hands to crack the second egg. And mix that in as well. And then add a little bit of flour because this was curdling at this point. And that's gluten-free flour, FYI, with a bit of baking powder. Final egg mixed in with a bit more flour. Until it's all nice and mixed together. And then I'm going to add the flour and baking powder along with some almonds, ground almonds. Mix that in nicely. Fold rather than vigorous mixing. Then we need some flavouring, so we're going to add some lemon. I just zested the lemon zest of 2 lemons. If you're using a grater like this, try not to grate your hand at the same time. I didn't add any juice of the lemons because I didn't want the mixture to be too runny. Mix all that lemon zest in. And then I'm cutting off my excess baking paper from the tin. I mean, you can just use a normal loaf tin or a round tin, a couple of round tins. You could even do these as muffins if you like. Entirely up to you. So then I had the challenge of actually putting the mixture in the cylinder tin. I opted for a spoon and the plopping method. One plop at a time, in the mixture goes. It took a while. See, I didn't want to use the whole bowl straight away because the mixture would have been all over the worktop. Only at the end I thought, well, there's less mixture in now, so I won't make too much of a mess. And then I tapped that down to make it flat before adding the lid on top and popping it in the oven upright, otherwise you won't have a cylinder. Interesting. Well, this is interesting. It's still pretty hot. I've created a volcano lava cake. How fun. And this monstrosity which has been produced on my baking tray on the bottom of the oven. So I think it might be cooked, but definitely does not look like the picture. I mean, this is a different recipe entirely. but it's what came with the tin. Look how rounded that is. Look how unrounded this is. But anyway, let's see if we can take it out of the tin. Let's just pop this over here. Now the question is, how on earth do I remove this monstrosity from this tin? I think I'll wait till it cools down a bit more. So this has had a bit longer to cool now. It's easier to handle. I still don't know how I'm going to get it out though. Good idea in theory to get a round cake, but not in reality. Oh, is it coming? Oh. Oh. Oh, there we go. It's coming off. Oh. And voila, a rounded cake. So I'm making some lemon buttercream to go on top of this lemon delight. First of all, softening some butter with electric whisk and then adding some icing sugar. I had 200 grams of icing sugar left in my packet and I added 100 grams of butter. Then sieved that icing sugar in there nice and gently so I didn't get a cloud of dust in my kitchen. And then once that was in there, I was debating whether to just put the butter covered whisk into my dust stopper or not, and decided against, yeah, why not, can wash it later. Still a cloud of dust, but we'll carry on. Added a touch of milk just to get everything nice and moving, and then continued whisking. Added a bit of lemon zest from one lemon, and then once that was grated in, I thought I'd add extra lemon by adding a bit of lemon curd and some lemon flavouring. All about the lemons in this buttercream. So 2 tablespoons of lemon curd. These are optional. Depends how lemony you want it. Teaspoon of what's that? Lemon flavour. And then mix it up. Actually 2 teaspoons of lemon curd, not tablespoons. And then give that another whisk. Get everything all nice and mixed together. And use a spatula to scrape down the sides, and there's some buttercream. And then this cake had been in the freezer for the week, so I unwrapped it, defrosted it, and then cut it in half with my snazzy cake cutter. Now this cake is a very soft cake in that it's not very robust, quite delicate to handle. So my buttercream I put on, and as you can see it's quite runny, so I put it on anyway and then put it in the fridge for half an hour to an hour, and it didn't firm up anymore before I continued decorating completely. So this is after it's been in the fridge and it's still just as runny, so carried on. Strangely resembles the monstrosity of Bert the Bug, if you remember from a while back, but we'll just carry on creating this abstract art in cake form. So it's been a week since I made the lemon cake, and I put it in the freezer because I wasn't ready to eat it there and then. So as you can see, I've created a beautiful monstrosity of a flooded gluten-free lemon cake. So the icing was a little bit runny because I added the milk, but that's okay, it's fine. I'm just going to slice it and have a piece anyway. And it's very messy. But how does it taste with its bad at all. I don't think you could tell it was gluten-free if you didn't know it was gluten-free, but you could tell it was slightly different to your average cake. Texture of the almonds, oh, very nice. Maybe I'd make it in a normal loaf tin next time. So, if you like this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And if you have any suggestions for anything you might like me to make in the next episode, please put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.